from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend. She chose the light where darkness ends. Eyes that see what most can't find. Gift of foresight, disciplined mind. Cross held steady, heart on guard. Truth cuts clean when nights get hard. She reads the silence, feels the room. Past and present start to bloom. Fear don't.
Hello.
Hello.
I cut off the theme early because it's really long. Hey, everybody.
All right.
Hey, Danielle. So, yeah. Hey, everybody. I think Danielle's frozen.
Okay. Well, I don't know, Donnie. You want to get things started with pictures?
Danielle, you with us?
Oh, there's Danielle.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll introduce this show. Welcome to another fine edition of Tea Time with Duchess Danielle. She'll be back, guys. She's just working through some connection issues. And say hi to everyone at home, Paul.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. And tonight we have a guest. Her name's Sue McClure, and she's a meditation specialist. And she has a very, very unique story about her childhood, and I'll have her talk about that. She does some shadow work, and she's a psychic medium. And also, too, Danielle and Sue both have something in common. They're both Orthodox religion. And Donnie and Sue have something in common. They're both from South Korea. And me and Sue, we don't have nothing in common. No, I'm just kidding. We're the paranormal. We got the paranormal in common. But I have delivered to Danielle some very unique pictures. And this was the pictures that you're about to see are going to blow you away. They're from Franklin, California. And Franklin, California's been around since the 1800s. And we brought along a psychic medium, and her name was Brittany Lance. And when you see these pictures, you might fall off your chair. Donnie, show those pictures.
All right. You got this one?
Okay. So when Brittany walked into the ballroom, this is a ballroom, which is very haunted at Franklin, California. She was channeling a ghost. And she says, take a picture of me because right now I'm hugging a ghost. And that was the picture. I got some more pictures. And John Timprine 2035. Hello. Okay. This picture right here is another psychic. And she says, there's something on my leg and it's burning my leg. There's an entity touching my leg. It hurts. I take a picture and that's what I got. And there was nothing around to make that shadow. The shadow was there and then the shadow was gone. And that was a demonic entity. We went to this house. It was in Yuba City. The lady said that there was a demon there, and we believe this shadow could be that demon. Okay. Next. Okay. Again, the psychic Brittany, she's channeling the energy from this entity. And then she says, take a picture because the entity has heard me and it's going towards my body. And we take this picture, and that's what we got. This picture was another psychic, and she is able to detect things in the sky. And I couldn't see this with the naked eye, but she says there's something in the sky. She snaps a photo, and she gets a doorway in the sky, a doorway to another dimension.
Hmm.
And that was taken over Copperopolis. Again, a better picture of it.
All right.
And that's the second photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
And
we got a couple more pictures of the psychic.
yes, hugging the ghost. And then there again, the ghost is over there hugging her, and she can feel it. She says, take a picture, take a picture. And boom, that's what we got. I mean, it's this ghost was just hanging on her. It blew us away.
And I think Danielle's back, but she's on her phone. Hey, Danielle, can you hear and see us okay? She's muted.
Well, the reason why those
Mhm.
pictures are blurry, or there's blurry after parts on there, a lot of times is because the vibration is different than our reality. So you're gonna get these blurry photos. That's why it's very hard to get clear photos of paranormal shots.
Hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see it does look like it was vibrating at the time of the picture being taken.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be on a whole different level. There you go. Hi,
Hey,
Danielle.
Danielle.
Danielle,
Danielle, you're muted. Danielle, you're muted.
There we go.
Okay.
How's now?
There you go. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello,
So-
everybody. So I guess I had some technical difficulties. So I deeply apologize, but I am connected now. So we are here. First of all, I want to say thank you, Paul and Donnie, for taking care of the things while I was trying to reconnect everything. And also, I want really to congratulate Steve, his 60th birthday. Happy birthday, Steve. We are so happy that you're celebrating your birthday with us. May God bless
happy
you.
birthday, Steve.
Yes, with God bless you with many beautiful journeys, prosperity, peace, and happiness, and most important, the health. I'm very, very happy that you are here with us. We have Scott Rawson and couple of the others that are part of the military, and our men and women in uniform are always respected here by Divas Dimensions or Tea Time with Duchess. So we salute you and say thank you. Thank you, everybody. We do have wonderful guests today, Miss Sue. So I'm very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Jerry, my wonderful friend, I salute you. I heard many beautiful stories about you. I know Paul did told us, and you just share some of the videos. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm actually right now in St. Louis, Missouri. I was born in South Korea many, many years ago, and I was found abandoned at a police station, and some janitor found me. I was in a basket, and I had some sort of a like cloth over me, and they found me, and they took me to medical, and they found out that I had infections all over my body, which is why I'm deaf blind, and I have all kinds of other health issues. I was just born with them. um, they also found out that my mother was probably had pneumonia when she was carrying me, which is why I had so many infections. And so the just kind of just it was interesting how they figured out what my birthday is. I still had the umbilical cord attached to me, And so they
Wow.
use the decay of the umbilical cord to kind of roughly determine when my birthday is. So we don't know 100%. I have no access to any of my parents or my birth parents. I have no idea who they are. I eventually got adopted by an American couple, a military couple in the United States, and I ended up in America. And I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri since.
Well, that's quite a life story. We're really thankful that you're sharing it with us, and that you are happy and alive, lady, today living in Missouri, and that you are having a beautiful family now that it's taking care of you. I do have more than couple friends from Korea, North Korea, I must say. And I'm pretty happy and satisfied. I got really easily connected with especially with Korean and the Chinese. I think it's just the way the culture works. I admire your guys' culture. I can see that many of you guys are joining, so please welcome, into your home today, Miss Soon. She is a psychic. I heard that,
Yeah.
and I heard that you have some beautiful way of connecting to the other side. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm a meditation specialist. That's my primary. And so what I do is I help people bridge the gap to what's going on in this world and in their life, and to calm down, because a lot of times people are scattered behavior wise. And
Mhm.
so bring yourself down to back to where you're supposed to be, because a lot of times it's kind of like running around with static, and the heavier your static is in your body, it's kind of like these energies. And so you have these rifts in your auras, you have these rifts in your just primal energy itself, your chakras can be unaligned. And so my job is to help calm you down and bring you back, so that you can work on whatever health issues you possibly have. So you can't help yourself if you're kind of all up in more of the scattered energy type of emotions, like you're upset, like you're angry. You can't, help yourself if you're going to be in those states. So my job is to help people calm themselves down first, and it's the meditation side of it, and allows people to be able to bring themselves back to themselves so they can work on themselves, whatever else that it is that ails them. And so and I try to teach people that the difference between curing themselves and being able to heal themselves. So there's a difference with that. So when you are healing, you can work yourself towards being cured. But being cured means that you have dealt with the issue, and that is no longer a problem, to be totally cured from it. And so that takes a pathway that you have to be willing to put yourself in order to work on yourself. So, for example, one of the meditations that I do is called a hallway meditation. And what I do is, when a lot of times when people are upset with themselves or someone else, they can imagine themselves going into a hallway, and they see a bunch of doors. Each of those doors are events in your life, whatever it may be. And it can also be different people as well. And so you pick one of those doors and you go through it, and you deal with the person. It could be yourself, or it could be an event, or it could be someone else. And you can talk with that person, you can talk with yourself, or whatever the event is, you can let it play out. And then you talk to the people there, you talk to yourself there, and that gives you like kind of a second chance, if you will, an energetic version of a second chance on how to deal with the situation. Whether you need to tell the person how you felt about XYZ, how you felt
Mhm.
about the situation, because you never had a chance to tell them otherwise. I've helped people that had somebody that passed away suddenly, and you never had a chance to say goodbye.
Oh,
So this allows you to go into a room and talk to the person and get a chance to say goodbye. Say what you need to say and get a chance to say goodbye, and that helps bring closure. So there's many uses for the hallway. And when you leave that room, and if you close the door, and if the door disappears, then you dealt with that situation. It's done. It's over.
wow, that's quite quite the experience and the connection with the other side. It's quite amazing. I can see that many people in our chart, they're super Duke. So welcome, Duke. You know, you are amazing friend to have and always here to support us. Grandizier, Steve Wolf, Scott Rosen. Who else do we have? Oh my God, we have a lot of people in here. Gemini Moon, John Temperine.
Hey,
There's
everyone.
more, the Cool Hand. There's more than a couple people in here. Welcome, everybody. Please do not be shy if you have a question for our guest, or, you know, if there's something particular that you would like to ask, or, you know, something that maybe you did experience, but you didn't get an answer. So this way, maybe we can help you out. Paul, I will let you take over and you tell me, what did you guys prepare for us today or this evening?
Oh, the pictures. Oh, we already went over it,
You're
Danielle.
I
Yeah,
saw the pictures. Yes, I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
So basically, if you see me, guys, clicking, it said now the internet is good. I'm trying to work on both sides, back and forth.
Mhm.
I do live in Canada, Miss Soon. So I live in a really beautiful but very cold country. So sometimes it doesn't matter how much you pay and what you do, our connection is not the best. So that's how does it go because of the weather. I was just wondering also, like you said, you know, your childhood probably was a little bit different than everybody's else. So I'm wondering, did you have any experience, you know, with the other side as a child, or what was your first experience that made you connect and say, hey, you know, I am different, or I have ability to do something else?
This is really weird, but I felt like I didn't even belong here on this planet. I couldn't relate to the adopted parents. They were on a different wavelength. I just didn't understand them, their way of thinking and stuff. And then when I had friends in school, I couldn't connect with anyone. It was like a total different language. I made some friends, but it was just like kind of skimming my life along. You know, I just didn't match up with a lot of people, and I thought maybe there was something wrong with me.
Mhm.
So I saw things
Okay,
in the
here
house.
because I think the internet is better. The internet is better.
I saw things in the
So,
house that
my dear,
yeah.
uh,
I saw things in the house that were
Yeah. It's echoing now, Danielle.
I'm wondering, like you said, you didn't connect with your
yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
friend.
I saw things in the house that were fading in and out a lot of times. I saw beings in the house. I didn't know what they were back then. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have any guidance. My parents just said it was a figment of my imagination, but I just
Yeah.
kept seeing things. I didn't know who they were. They were entities, beings, ghosts, all sorts of things. I saw sorts of stuff throughout my life. When I got older, I learned what a lot of them were, and I tried to connect with one of them to ask, "Who are you?"
Mhm.
And they said that there were people in the house, which would explain why there was a Ouija board in my parents' house. Apparently, it came with the house when they bought it. So the last tenant that lived there apparently activated some sort of spirit
What's happening?
or being, and it's been hanging around the house. And so I asked, "Who are you?" And they said, "Oh, I'm just someone to come around and I just, you know, play and I mesh with you guys and stuff like that." It really had a nefarious attitude. You know, it was really, really disturbing. So I learned later on in life to create a portal in order to shut it down from a friend who was in the spiritual essence of teachings and stuff, and I didn't know anything about that, but he gave me instructions on how to create a portal
Wow.
in order to suck this entity in and to get rid of it. So that was my first lesson of anything that I ever learned about hitting the supernatural world. So I tried
Yeah.
it. I went over to the house and I created this portal, and I haven't seen that being since.
And how old were you at that time when you learned all that?
I'm sorry.
How old were you at the time when you learned all that?
I was like late middle school.
Late middle school. Okay. So
Late
then
middle
through much of
school.
your teens and early adult life, then you were like
Yeah,
actively.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I never touched that part of the way of thinking because I was raised with the Orthodox religion, and my mother said I'm not supposed to touch anything that
Yeah.
had to do with that. So for years, a lot of, I guess, my abilities were kind of just shelved. And I just drifted through my life, but I would see things and I would ignore it. It wasn't until I moved out is when I was starting to take things more seriously, especially in college. I started seeing all sorts of stuff. I started meeting all kinds of
Wow.
people that kind of introduced me into that direction. And then I sort of realized, well, the things that Jesus did, how come he was allowed to do different types of abilities and we're not? That didn't make sense, especially since we're family with them, you know? So it didn't make sense to me. So that's when I started
Yeah.
getting into studying about chakras, meditations, and connecting with the universe and connecting with God even deeper.
Paul, you're muted.
Paul, you're muted.
Not muted anymore. Not muted anymore. Okay, I'm just kidding. But hey, listen, Sue, when you're walking down the street, right? I mean, do you like
Uh-huh.
see? Do you see ghosts? I mean, like you're walking down and go, "Oh my God, there's a ghost by the telephone pole." I mean, does that happen for you?
I've only had that happen once. Otherwise, no. But I can tell when something's invading a person. When somebody walks by me, I can tell that it's not just maybe somebody having a bad day. They just feel like there's something off about them. Like there's a demon riding on them. A lot of times I can tell if a demon has hitched a ride or an entity has hitched a ride when people walk by me. It's kind of disturbing. Then I can tell when people's energies are fairly cleared. So when people come after me, I'm very cautious when people come up to talk to me sometimes. And it it's the majority of the people are fairly cleared in the world, believe it or not. 'Cause a lot of people do look after themselves really well. And even though there's what's called energetic hygiene, people subconsciously take care of themselves energetically anyway without even realizing it. Like having a healthy diet, exercising, taking showers and things like that.
Yeah.
And you do shadow work. Can you tell us about that?
Well, the shadow work, as I explained earlier, the shadow work would be allowing people to work on their shadow, working on their dark side of themselves to clear it, because you kind of are bombed down by the links of the chain of the things that happen in your life, and you're dragging it throughout your history, which is known as baggage. So the less baggage you have, the more it is to deal with your present self. Because some of your baggage could prevent you from getting a really good job, for example. Because
Mm-hmm.
someone, gave you an opportunity, and there's a part of you that says, "No, I'm not really worthy to get that job," or "I can't do it." Where did that come from? Where did that attitude come from? It had to stem from something from your past that got you to feel unworthy to be able to even give it a shot. And so the whole thing about failure or being afraid to fail comes from something from your past. So when you clear those things, you find yourself having more confidence. So the shadow work allows you to look at your life and help you clear some of the things. And you'd also want to do a spiritual cleansing every day so it doesn't build up. It's kind of like, the ducts and your filters and stuff. You have to clean those every so often. Otherwise, if it gets all clogged up, then the airflow will not be, as hard. So you want to clear airflow. It's the same thing you want to clear flow in yourself. That way you can flow through life freely as well. If you feel
Mhm.
stuck, then your life is going to be stuck. And you don't want that.
And how do you do a spiritual cleansing in a
It
home?
makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
How do you conduct your spiritual cleansing at a home?
The spiritual cleansing that I've done, besides the sage and the common different incense, but um, I've also make sure I kick all the entities out that don't belong here, because this is your house, your place is your domain. You're allowed to decide who can be here and who can't. That means spiritually as well as physically. So one of the ways you can cleanse it is using sage. Another is prayer. You can use holy water. You can use all sorts of different things, and you can verbally tell them to leave. A lot of times they won't leave. You can actually, believe it or not, have spirits arrested and have the galactic police, if you will, to come take them and drag them away. There are many, many different ways to clean your place, and another one is to make sure all the portals in your house are closed. And that's, I think a lot of people don't realize. For example, like your toilet is a portal, because when you flush it, the water goes round and round. Same thing with the sink, and the biggest one is the dishwasher. If you notice that you walk by your dishwasher and you find out that your jewelry keeps breaking around that area, like your necklaces and your bracelet, that's because there's a portal open. So every time you wash the dishes with the dishwasher, it's good to sage that area.
Mm.
And my vlog, Sunny11, says, "How did you open a portal?"
You open a portal. If you want to open a portal, then you can just create a loop. I create a loop with my finger. I can create sort of a slice, if you will,
Mhm.
in time. It's sort of like just taking your finger and slicing it open. And you can open a fissure if you want. A lot of times,
Mm.
that's what I will do. Is I will slice a space and throw some demons in there if I need to. I can do that energetically inside a person. I can go inside a person if they give me permission, and I can check to see if there's any demons and spirits in you that are not supposed to be there. Um, that's being bombarded with different types of negative energy. But if you want to actually keep those negative energies out of you, you don't open yourself up for it. It's kind of like how a worm gets into an apple. The worm is going to find the softest spot it possibly can on an apple in order to start chewing through it. And it's the same thing with demons and negative entities. They're going to find the softest, weakest spot about you, whether it's emotional or whether it's physical, and they will chew right in you. And one of the easiest ways is drinking alcohol. If you drink alcohol, you're going to be opening up your crown chakra and you'll be coming right in. It's literally like having your front door open. So if you don't want them there, then that's, you have to avoid the things that basically have the door open. And if you do have these demons in you, that's where the clearing comes in. And so it's a spiritual hygiene. It's the same thing when you go out in public. You get dirt, you get smog, you get dust, you get all kinds of things on your body. How do we clean ourselves from that? We take a shower. And it's the same thing. When we go out and meet other people, when we go out and into the world and just hang out with different types of people, since we don't know who everybody is, that's why it helps when you come home. You spiritually cleanse yourself every time when you from going out in public in order to keep yourself spiritually clean. Because you
And
don't want to pass it on. It can get passed on just like a cold, they say. It can just be passed on to another person. And you can see how energy gets passed on by when you have a certain mood. And if you behave towards another person with that mood, you notice that mood is contagious. And that's it, that passes on from the energy. It's the same thing with demons, it's the same thing with any spiritual invasion. You can pass that on to the next person, and they will hop from person to person.
hey, also too, I just noticed that Steve Wolf 223 wants to know how to obtain holy water. For myself, I go to any Catholic church, and in the lobby, they have holy water. So I usually bring a container and I get myself some holy water. And then it was one time when I was doing that, and the priest came up to me and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm collecting some holy water because I got a paranormal investigation, and and the priest like looked at me and goes, "Oh, okay, okay." And he goes, "You know what you're doing?" I go, "Yeah, I know what I'm doing." Yeah. So, oh, and um, what I was going to say, Grand Deezer 12. Um, I was going to say something to him, and now I forgot what it was. Oh well, it'll come to me. So, Sue,
You know, Paul, that's quite different. Like in Orthodox, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm not sure if that's quite a little bit different. I just wanted to add in the Orthodox Church, you are allowed to take water as much as you can. For example, I always have a little water basically bottle with me, and we take it, and you can bless the home. Or once a week when I'm done with my shower to provide the cleansing, I take a cup of water and just fill it over my body and over my, my household. You can sprinkle it just to cleanse, like Miss Sue is saying, cleanse the entire body and cleanse the entire household. It's a little bit different, just like every church has their own rules, but I think, as long as you're Christian, you're using the holy water, it's okay. So sorry about that, Paul. I cut you off.
oh no, no, no.
I was just wondering, like, maybe I should send you some extra holy water here from San.
Oh no, I get plenty. I
That's
get
why I
Go
drink
ahead.
it sometimes.
yeah. In fact, I would at one
Yeah, me
time
too. Me
I
too.
was doing so many cleansings that I had to take a jug. The jug was about this big, and of holy water because I was doing a lot of cleansings. And
Oh,
yeah, but now that I'm retired from paranormal investigating, not so much.
Well, when you run out of a holy water, when you have a little bit left, you can actually put more water in there to make more holy water.
I do that. I do that. I do that. Yeah.
So you can keep it going.
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah. And I've done full submersion baptisms in people's swimming pools and in their bathtubs.
Yeah.
And yes, blessed oil does
It
work.
works. Yep.
Yeah. We have psychics who use blessed oil.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You can there's all kinds of blessed things. You can also use moon water. You can use you can bless anything.
Oh yeah.
I
in
bless
order to
my
cleanse
own.
your
Some
environment.
people are saying I bless my own. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue, what was one of your most disturbing cases?
Mm-hmm. That's quite
I'm
good
sorry.
question.
Sue?
I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Oh yeah. What was one of your most disturbing cases?
My most disturbing case,
Hmm.
when someone gets a demonic attack, and then I have to deal with it. I have to clean themselves from a demon. I've had people that literally call me for help, and they sound fine, they sound calm, and then um, they would get so upset. All of a sudden, they would literally go from 0 to 60 in seconds. It's crazy. And they would go from "I just need your help" to "I'm gonna kill you." And it can get pretty freaky. So this is when I ask permission if I can go inside and see if they have somebody inside of them that's not supposed to be there. And this is after asking, "Why do you want to kill me?" And that's probably the scariest case I've ever had. But I can go inside people and check to
Wow.
see if there's a demon in there that's convincing them, because a lot of times that's not you talking like that. And so every time that when people talk really, really upset, there can possibly be entities. Now, it's not always the case, but there can be entities in there that can cause a great deal of an obsession with whatever that's upsetting you. And they would like to amplify whatever it is that is bothering you that may not be considered that big a deal. I love everybody's
I can
suggestions
see
for
lots of people are sharing, the
yeah.
way they're blessing themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Or cleansing
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
their bodies, their house. I think it's quite beautiful. I think, Miss
Yeah.
Sue, you're touching many hearts today and many souls. What's quite amazing. And we love having you here.
That's all,
I have
Stella. That's
one
amazing.
question for you, my dear, if you don't mind. Did you ever enter the home where you felt actually threatened or scared, or you felt like your life is in danger?
When I do a hallway meditation, I have not so far, and I hope I
Yes,
don't.
yes.
But when I do a hallway meditation,
Oh,
that's usually for if I do one on myself, which I do, I go to the hallway daily to deal with anything and to clear my energy, and that's just one of the meditation techniques that I use. But um, otherwise, the hallway meditation would be if I had a client go in there, they go in themselves, and I just give them instructions on what to do and how to go in there. Once they're in there, then they deal with the event themselves. I'm not in there with them. The only thing I can do is guide them on what to do when they open the door and go through. And I will suggest to them to talk to a person if it's a person that they had a problem with, and they can say whatever they need to say, get it out of their system. They can give the person their 2 cents of what the issue is, and then they can resolve it by talking to their older self, giving their older self advice and love and how to deal with it. That older self is going to transmute and talk to you, the current you, and that's how you start to feel better. So that's when you give your older self the love, advice, talk. So when you give yourself, maybe a lot of times they end it with giving themselves a hug and saying everything was all right, you're safe, you're loved. And then when they leave the room and close the door, like as soon as the door disappears, then it has been dealt with, it's over. That's closure right there. But there's a lot of other different meditations that
wow.
I teach people,
Uh,
like
uh,
the
uh, yeah.
like round table, for example. You can actually use the round table for many things. You can call a person and be able to talk to them if that helps you need closure. You can use the round table to also talk to all your body parts. If you're not feeling well and you're trying to figure out what's going on, you can actually put your body part at the table, like a round table, right in front of you, and you can ask your body part, an organ, liver, heart, kidney, brain, hey, what's wrong? What do you need? You can actually talk to yourself, believe it or not, different body parts to see what ails you. And it'll give you advice what it needs and what you need to do to make it better. These are the different meditation techniques I teach people.
Quite amazing. I actually did, I did hear that from my good friend from Nepal.
I'm sorry.
And basically, he would always say to me, that example, Reiki works that way because you will remove the negative energy from that body part where inflammation or where basically there's issues with the body, pain, and, let's say suffering and things like that. So that's quite kind of similar. I have one very interesting question for you. I know probably through your life you did face many different challenges, and many different spirits and demons, probably extraterrestrials themselves. Did you ever face or ever seen? Some people like this question because I also have questions from the Instagram. Did you ever face or see extraterrestrials like aliens themselves?
I have not seen actual aliens, like have them visit and have tea with me. However, we do have in my backyard, we do see ships every once in a while, and they come by. I've seen the one that kind of looks like a light up multicolored ball um, that has gone by.
Wow.
I have seen one that sort of looks like a needle that has gone by, and every once in a
Hmm.
while we have a spyglass, the kind of more the older kind, and we have seen ships go to and from the moon. Um, So we have seen things like that. I had a visitor in my house one time. When I woke up, I saw an eye on my wall. So I figured that was one of the angels because that's usually how they appear. It looks like an eyeball or multiple eyes. Um, I found that in my room when I woke up, and
Mm-hmm.
then there is a shadow not too long ago that was in my bedroom, and every time I walked up to it, it would disappear. And then when I back off, it would appear again. I don't know what that's about. I've seen an entity that has gone to and from the house. My daughter has seen different types of ghost that's there in the house, and they would mess with the doors or the lights once in a while. Um, they would mess with the ceiling fan. We would have things that go on in the house, and some of them are friendly and I
Wow.
allow them to be here, and others that are kind of malevolent, I won't allow them to be here.
There was a house, this family that lives in Placerville, California, and they were visited by elves. There was three elves that seemed to always watch them. They would land up on the branch of the tree and look through their window. And one day, the lady, she's watching TV and she sees the owls and she gets this big smile on her face. And oh, those owls are so cute. And then as she kept on looking at them, and she rubbed her
Wow.
eyes a little bit, and she looked at them, they turned out to be not owls, but they turned out to be extraterrestrials. Turned out to be grays with the big almond black eyes. And it was aliens that were actually
Wow.
watching them. And she went through self hypnosis, and she actually discovered she was actually taken. She was abducted, and they took her up on the ship, and they did some pregnancy tests on her. So anyway, I did an interview with the family and
Oh
everything
Lord.
else. Yeah, and they were very frightened. I mean, in a situation like that, I've done investigations, demons, ghosts, and I know how to do a cleansing. But there's no cleansing for extraterrestrials. So yeah, they're just in a bad predicament.
No, that's amazing.
That's
Well,
quite
yeah.
quite, if I can say, scary experience. Well, Donnie, did you ever experience any extraterrestrials face any or anything like that?
You're on mute.
Now it's my
You
turn
are
to be
muted.
muted. It's my turn. No, I didn't
Yes,
experience any extraterrestrial stuff. I do
we all do
sometimes
it
wish for
around.
it though.
Donnie, in your window back there, you sure there's no extraterrestrial watching you?
No, I mean I invite them, but they never come. So
Okay.
they always ignore my invitations. Yeah, I would have
Miss
so many questions for them.
Miss
That's
Sue, I'll tell you something. Uh, as yes, as Donnie and Paul are here, and everybody in the chat, lots of times I've been asked question, did you meet ever extraterrestrials? No, I didn't. I think I only have once the experience that I'm not sure was it the full experience or what was it. I will not lie, or was it a dream? I'm very honest. I did experience many other things. When I think about the tall gray, I really don't think after every cake on top of the everything, because there I don't want to be experiment on and tested on. So I'm wondering, many people in the chat and on Instagram also have this question. It's with the people that do play witchcraft or the Ouija board, and they ask you then for the help because they actually play with the dark.
I'm sorry, I did not hear the question. You were breaking up.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up there, Danielle.
Oh, I apologize. I apologize. I'll repeat. So many would like to know, did you ever work with people that did experience the witchcraft or the dark side, so that they were actually playing with witchcraft and then they
Oh,
called something into their home or upon their loved ones? And how did you help them?
If people, are you asking if people had entities or whatever in, how do I help them?
oh no, she's asking if people had those kinds of problems as a result of them dabbling in witchcraft.
Yes.
Um, when people do, I only had like a couple
Yes.
of experience of that. I would first help them close up fissures, get rid of the demons out of the house, and then work on whatever is going on with them, as well cleaning. I mean, you have to do a house cleanse if you ever bring anything in the house. The first thing is to get them out of the house, and then work on the people, pull any demons out as well. House cleanse is really hard to do because some of them, once they get a taste of their freedom of being out on our side of the world, they don't want to
Mhm,
go back. That's why it's
mhm.
so hard to get rid of them because they're like,
I
we're
see.
free, you know? And they
Hmm.
can fly around, they can mess with you. I mean, that's fun for them. And if you want to put the genie back in a bottle, that's hard. They're very reluctant to leave. Um, Especially if they know that they can siphon energy out of you. So you
Hmm.
have to be careful when you mess with these things that you understand the consequences. And it's just like absolutely anything that you do in your life. When you decide to do anything in life, you're going to have to weigh out what the consequences are. And
Hmm.
that's why they say don't mess with it unless you know what you're doing and unless you're also willing to pay whatever comes with it. That's my advice with that.
Hmm.
Is it's a lot to get them out.
Thank you. That was quite a nice and clear advice. Thank you. Paul or Donnie, do you have any question for our lovely guest?
I'll let Donnie go first.
Um, so
Okay.
I'm kind of interested.
Donnie, you're on the
So,
spot.
okay. So Sue, like, so once you started getting more into, I guess, this life, like what kind of, did you get a lot of pushback from like your family or the people around you or as you were getting more involved in it? Because you said you first, actively engaged it when you were like a teenager.
Well, my family won't have anything to really do with me. I'm not a
Really?
popular fan. I'm just too weird for them, I guess. They consider
Oh.
me too weird. Thank you. Thank you. Um, but there's a lot of times, and you're not required to align with your family. I know family is family, blood is
Mm-hmm.
blood. Um, but there's if sometimes we are stuck with that we are different. I mean, I question all the time, why'd you adopt me? But that's
Yeah.
because really the real answer is they didn't know. They
Yeah.
didn't know how I was going to turn out. They don't know what my soul contract is. They don't know what the alignment is. And it's like that with any kid when you get them. You don't know what goes on and what kind of kid you're going to get. So the best thing to do when you're parenting, when you have a kid that's maybe different, is to be, in my opinion, instead of being rigid, to be more understanding, to kind of get down at their level and kind of ask questions on why they feel that way or what they see instead of kind of ridicule them. I think that would be best because then you can find out how to maybe open doors for them and
Mm-hmm.
explore certain things. And I know that a lot of people do have religious beliefs that, prevent people from exploring a little more about themselves. And I totally understand that. I grew up with that. But I think, in my opinion, it would be best if you have a kid that sees, things, ask them, what is it that you see? How do you feel? You know, how would you like to move forward with this? Would you like to keep going? Would you like to us to get books perhaps on how to explore more into this particular area? Because a lot of times it may be something that they just need to figure out for themselves where they sit with the particular abilities that they have. Um, a lot of times parents feel that they have to put their kids on a certain level because their parents did it. And so that's the thinking that has been passed down from generation to generation, is to decide kind of your kid's fate instead of allowing them to somewhat take the reins when it comes to what they see, what they hear, and what they want to do, and how to kind of latch on whatever personality that they actually want to be. And I know that's hard because we all have these daydreams when we have children, and we dream of how we want them to turn out. And a lot of times you'll get a curveball and it may not turn out exactly the way you daydreamed. So I think it's best to be flexible with your kids.
Hey, it's my turn.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Andrew.
So anyway,
Yay!
yeah, Sue. Okay, when did you leave South Korea?
Mm.
How old were you when you left South Korea?
I was 2. I
Two.
was I was almost 2 years old when I was adopted.
Okay. Well, this question may go to Donnie Cho because Donnie, when did you leave South Korea?
Well, I was born in Canada. I grew up in the States.
Ah, I gotcha. Okay, well, I was in South Korea for a year. I was in the army, and I was at Yongsan Barracks in Seoul, Korea. And Yongsan Barracks is very, very haunted. Most military bases are haunted, and the reason why is because soldiers will die in training accidents. They sometimes they long for home, so they commit suicide, and sometimes you even have a murder. So you will go to any military base, and I've been to a lot of military bases, and they're all haunted. But Seoul, Korea, I don't know if you realize this, but it's a very haunted place. Uh, uh, on my own, I mean, I wasn't a paranormal investigator in 1981, but I was very curious about the paranormal because I lived in a haunted house as a child. So when I grew up, I started reading, well, I got older, I started reading books about the paranormal. And so when I got to Korea, while my friends were going to bars and drinking alcohol and having a good time and chasing women, I was over there looking at these haunted places. And one of the haunted places was Yongma Land in Seoul, Korea. It's an abandoned amusement park, and there was some accidents there, and that's why they closed it down. And some people died, and they say that that place is really, really haunted. And another place, and I wonder if you guys, Donnie or Sue, have heard about this place, but it's called Gonjam Psychiatric Hospital.
There was experiments done there. That's why.
Yes.
That was terrible.
I went over there, and people mysteriously died at that place. And
Seriously.
there was rumors that people were getting electrical shocks. What's that called? And
Yeah.
what's that?
Electroshock therapy.
Yeah, and also too, they were getting where they put that thing in your eye. Oh man, how come
You mean a lobotomy?
a lobotomy? Yes, they were doing the lobotomies over there, electric shock treatment, and a lot of people mysteriously died at that hospital. The place is seen. A lot of people have said that they've seen apparitions walking, people looking out the windows, but there's nobody there. These ghosts are just looking out the window. And it was demolished in 2018. But when I was in South Korea, I went over there, and that place is just creepy. I couldn't go inside, but I walked around outside. But I felt things like tingling, and I felt things like hands on my shoulders and over on my head and stuff like that. So, Yeah, South Korea is really, really a spooky place.
And that's because there was a lot of, and not only demonic entities and forces there, but how deep a rabbit hole you want to go in this is there was a lot of draconian type energy there. And they're famous of wanting to do experiments on people. They would pump them all kinds of chemicals to see what makes them tick.
Mm.
And one of the things that they wanted to harvest was try to figure out how our soul is in our body. Because that's one of
Wow.
the things that they cannot replicate is the whole idea of having a soul. They don't have one.
Mm.
And so they're kind of jealous that we have it. And so they constantly try to figure out how to take it out of the body and then put it in another person, or how to canister it or contain it. It's very, very elusive for them. That whole idea that we actually have a certain Christ consciousness and connection with God drives them crazy because they don't have it. And they want to know what that's all about and how to control it, how to harness
Mm.
it. And so that's why they did all these crazy experiments.
I had a friend named Yoon Suk Lee, and she lived near the hospital, and she says that she would hear screamings late at night.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so I bet you anything they were doing lobotomies. They didn't put those people under. They were just doing lobotomies and everything else, and just torturing them.
yeah, they would pump all kinds of junk in them. It was terrible just to see.
Yeah.
They went as far as one time to see what happens if you would pump like some sort of gasoline type fluid. I don't remember what type of fluid, but they would pump it directly into the heart to see what would happen. Gee. I mean, I already know what would happen, but I guess they wanted to double confirm or something. I don't know. It's totally messed up.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And not only that, South Korea was run by dictators for a while. And
Yes, it was.
yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah. Even in 1981, there was a dictator. And in 1981, I was out there.
Mhm.
I agree there with Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. Yeah, you can't. There's just things you can't
Yeah.
tinker with.
You know, I want to add something. As a medical professional, for quite a Parkinson, etc. But none of that would be cured with electroshock therapy. Unfortunately, with therapy only kill more brain cells. So what you do, you actually make person more ill than they are. So mentally, they would go basically, if we're going to use that word, crazy or insane. So it's quite sad to see that electroshock therapies were then used inside of these chambers, to, like you're saying, in Korea, in World War II, in Vietnam, even in many medical facilities up to late 90s or late 80s. Where they would think that they can prevent Alzheimer, Parkinson's disease, schizophrenia, schizophrenia, delusions, and hallucinations. Well, actually, they would make patients even worse and open the doors to the darkness that would never heal. So many of those souls at the end did kill themselves or commit suicide. So somebody wrote there, I think was Steve Wolf, or no, Cool Hand, forgive me. He said, where the wars did happen, there's many huntings issues. That's because the souls never found the way out. What do you think about that, Miss Sue? When you're actually thinking about the places of war and places of darkness, do you think that still many souls?
Well, it also depends on whether technology was involved to get the peoples to kill themselves, because the biggest thing they ever want to do is evidence cover up. So they can put things in people's heads to get them to destroy themselves in order to keep everything silent. But it's there's all kinds of entities, including there's also sadness and guilt. Some of them others have taken an oath in order to keep things silent. So they will kill themselves if you have your place raided by authorities, for example, of any kind, whether it's, war or, the other people from the other side ended up taking over your compound. A lot of times suicide will be a necessary measure to keep the information in. They have been papers that's been scattered around. People have gathered information. A lot of times, stuff you will not ever find on any form of any type of computer. Because back then they did have low grade computer, but a lot of times stuff was on paper because you can't hack paper. And so there's many, many, many decisions that they made during the war, and when war was over, there was a lot of shredding of evidence. It's been a huge thing, and that's why it's always hard to get records from officials of what really happened. So that's why a lot of times we get records from the survivors of the incidents.
Thank you for that explanation. Andrew has a really good comment about Gettysburg in One Day Creepy Spot. A lot of my family members were in concentration camps, and they had numbers in Auschwitz, Auschwitz, Jasenovac. Most of them were part of basically that terrorizing and brutal killing. So I can really relate to that. Both of my grandmas on my father and my mother's side, they did have numbers, and they did end up being there, and their husbands were killed, and their children. So some children did survive, some didn't. So I understand how painful that can be. Thank you, Sue, for your explanation, my dear. Thank you for that.
I like how Andrew talked about the plants that doesn't grow when there's
Paul or Donnie, any questions for our lovely guest?
Yeah, plants.
Or anybody in the
will
chat,
not
if you
grow
have a
they're
question for
negative.
Sue, do not be shy.
Oh, sorry, Sue's talking right now. Hold on. Go ahead, Sue.
When there's negative entities anywhere, when I lived in Kewanee, briefly, Kewanee, Illinois, there was a prison there, and there was no plants growing. There was a tree there that was dead. So plants do not thrive in severely negative areas. They just can't. There's a certain segment of energy that they cannot thrive in. It's a thing.
Like the land is tainted.
I don't
almost.
entirely know why, but it's kind of the same thing
Pretty
with people. If you are living in an area where a tragic happened, it is hard to thrive in that area, even personally.
Right.
Energetically, it won't let you because the vibration is so low. And plants are kind of a higher vibration. If you want to use the term being, I think plants are more beings. That's just my opinion. But they are a higher vibration being, and they cannot handle growing in things that are seriously negative areas.
And that's really true because I forget what cowboy it was, but he was hung from a tree. They had a lynch mob posse that went after him. They hung him up on a tree, and when he fell down from the tree after being hung and died, nothing grew. The grass just died where he fell at. Yeah. Some of that negative energy.
Wow. Andrew is saying that's some evil stuff, answering to the Steve Wolf comment. I totally agree. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you do have a question for Miss Sue, you can write it in capital letters so that she can answer some of your questions. It'll be our pleasure, that we can use her mind, if I can sell her wisdom and the knowledge to answer some of your questions that she's capable of answering. Miss Sue, does any of your children, forgive me, have the gifts that you do have?
Well, yes, they do. My older one does have gifts, but she's kind of squandered them away for the political Marxist agenda, unfortunately. And then my younger one is in training. So she's learning all kinds of things. She was studying about different astrological points. She's studying Reiki healing and things like that. So she's slowly learning. She's homeschooled and teaching her different aspects of life altogether, because there's more than just the classroom. The classroom, when you're in school, really teaches you very similar to what prison is like. And so I'm trying to get her completely away from the prison mindset, because if you see how school is, you're answering to a bell, you're raising your hand to ask permission to go to the bathroom, you're in line. I mean, it's exactly like prison. The food is exactly similar to prison. Terrible stuff. And I don't know, I find school a low vibration thing, and I didn't really know much about it. I thought that's how life was supposed to be until I got to see life on the other side. And I got to see life on both sides of the fence. When I was raised with my family, things were well. I mean, I didn't get along with my parents, but financially things were fairly well. But then when my dad has his opinion about how I should live in my adult life, he says, 18, you're out of here. He threw me out on the street. So then I saw life on the other side of the fence of being homeless. So when I saw life on the other side of the fence of being homeless, I was constantly bombarded by people that wanted to get me into prostitution, get me into drugs, and I didn't want to do that. So I actually did everything I could to keep myself out of that particular type of alignment. And eventually I found, my way. I found a shelter, and I eventually found my own place for the first time. And that's when I started to have the freedom to explore what things really are. I was kept under a very tight thumb when I was living with my parents, so the freedom was actually a blessing. Being tossed out was actually a blessing now that I look back on it. So a lot of times when you look at things in your life, what goes on, back then you didn't know what was going on, hindsight, but now that you look back on it, sometimes some of it might be a blessing, because if you didn't experience that, you know, you wouldn't be the same person that you are today.
So, Sue, you've been asked things about UFOs. You've been asked about ghosts and everything else. Um, have you ever dealt with any cryptids? I know in South Korea, there's no Bigfoot stories in Korea, but they do have the Jongsung tiger, and that's seen at the Jongsung Mountains. And what is very unique about this cryptid is that it has a horse face, is very quick, and it mimics human voices. And they say that what it does, it tries to lure you to it. And whatever happens after that, I don't know. But um, I wouldn't get near it if I saw it. But it also, too, it makes the sound of a baby crying. So when a person goes close to it, it'll snatch you up because it enticed you with that baby cry. Have you ever heard about that, or have your parents ever, anybody ever that you talked to heard about that?
Not that particular one, but I have heard all over the world that there's different types of entities out there that thrive on innocent energy. That's why kids are the constant target of whatever it is that is going on in the world. They are constantly the target
Yeah.
for harvesting energy, harvesting what we call loose, which is energy. That's why there's
Mhm.
war. There's constant war. They want the loose, the energy. And you notice they're ramping up on it even now, far more than ever, because that certain administrations are actually putting a kibosh on it. And when they start closing doors on the negative entities, saying that we're not going to give you what you want, then they're trying to find it in other ways. And then you'll see things ramping up of what happens to children, what happens to babies, and what happens to any family member that has a positive energy. And one thing about the light is that the the light always irritates the darkness. So darkness is going to try very hard, very hard, especially even now more than ever, to try to snuff out anything positive, especially babies, innocent children. Um, so it's our job to definitely protect. Thank you. John, yeah, gotta keep protection. Yes. So evil does strike. It does fly around. It comes from everywhere. But if you notice how many babies get picked on, look at abortion
Yeah.
and how many have been murdered, how many kids have been stolen. It's always the children. Why? Because of the type of energy that they bring. And the innocent and pure energy is the strongest type of energy you can harvest.
And they said the Gyeongsang tiger over in South Korea, it's only seen in Busan at the Gyeongsang Mountains. So, and it does try to entice children for capture. And I don't know what it does after it captures if they eat children or what. I mean, but
Those are what we call territorial entities. They will stay in the one area and work with that specific area. They're not going to be everywhere. So there are entities out there that are territorial. They will be seen in that one spot or that one area. All over the world, there's different entities out there that prey on children.
and you know, here in America, we got all these cryptids. We got Bigfoot, we got Chupacabra, we got river serpents. I mean, we got all kinds of cryptids. But yeah, South Korea seems like only has one cryptid, and it's in one location in Busan. And the movie Train to Busan, you would think there's a lot of zombies out there, but Donnie, have you seen Train to Busan?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, that is a very good movie. And the
It is.
South Korea's got the best horror movies. What's the one with the big doll, Donnie? Um,
The
where
big doll.
yes, a doll. It's a huge doll, and then
Ye-
people are running to it and they kill them.
Oh, you're talking about Squid Games?
Yeah, Squid Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one.
Obviously, the Amish knew something. That's why their
Miss
dolls do
Sue,
not have a
I have
face
a
on it.
question that is coming from Instagram.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And I was reading it from the Instagram, and I see a couple people are also having it here. What do you think about cryptics? What do you think about Bigfoot? What do you think about dogmen, werewolf? Do you think they really exist? Are they coming from different dimensions? Should we be a little bit worried now that veil is thinning? Are they going to be showing up themselves more often?
They have been showing up a little bit more often. I think they're more working with humanity. A majority of the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot race, is benevolent. They're fine. Um, they actually have a realm. If you actually see these two orange lights that appear on top of each other, that's their portal opening up, and they can end up in our side of the world. And the reason why you may not be able to get a clear picture of them and looks fuzzy is very often it's because their vibration level is different and they're kind of slightly out of alignment to us. Um, in their area, they do have a normal type of life village, if you will. They have their very modern technology. They do have shipyards. They do fly, and that's where the Chewbacca and Star Wars came from. They have um, a lot of different technologies that are a little beyond than what we have physically seen here on this side, and we have literally been without the technologies that we can possibly have, like especially zero point energy, working with crystals or water instead of gasoline. So when it comes to Bigfoot, I have not met one, but I have seen lots of different reports, and I have friends that's told me reports from different testimonials. I have not seen of any other entities other than we do have fairies in the spring in our yard. So if you see lights that look similar to fireflies, but it's white like an iPhone camera, those are fairies. So we do have those. and you can leave things out for them if you want. If you suspect that you have entities in the yard that are kind, that are good, and if you want to help them, you can always take a miniature plate and cut up miniature pieces of fruit for like dragons, for example, dragon energy, fairy energy, gnomes, elves, all different types, and there's different types of different elves. There's tiny ones, there's big ones. Leprechaun. Um, there's many beings that would actually don't mind you helping him out and handing him gifts. It's the same thing with animals in nature. People have given things to squirrels, and squirrels actually are one of the animals that actually understand currency. They will pay you back. I've seen them give a pine cone as payment. I've seen them, if they find certain desserts, cookies, or type of food item that they believe will be useful to you, they will leave it in return in place where they left the food.
Sue, I got to stop you right there. I actually feed the squirrels in my backyard. And you're right. I feed them peanut butter sandwiches, and they will bring me back a small orange.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's currency.
yeah,
Animals like
yeah.
squirrels do understand currency. They will pay you back. If they like a specific food item, they will actually leave parcels of it. Like, for example, um, I've seen David Wilcock. He's actually left chicken one time, and they brought back the chicken bone and was letting him know that they wanted more of it. So they will tell you. Yeah, they will tell you what they like too. But yes, they do currency. Sometimes raccoons will actually do currency. There are animals out there that do currency. There's birds out there that will do currency. They will bring back something for you after you've given them something. So there's a human animal exchange all the time. And it's the same thing with different entities out there, different types of beings out there. They have currency. It's their way of saying thank you.
I have squirrels, I have opossums, I have raccoons, and
Wow.
Feral
Yeah,
cats. They come to my backyard, so I feed them all every night, every
they
single.
absolutely love you.
Yeah, yes. And then in daytime, the squirrels come, and then
Yeah.
at nighttime, opossum, raccoons, and the raccoons come through their sewer line drains. Yeah, the storm drains.
Mm, that's awesome. Yeah.
Come.
So yeah, it all has to do with
I have a
energy.
one kitty now running around, and I have two puppies, and one parrot, and three uh three goldie finches and two canaries. And I love animals. The animals are just beautiful creatures to me. They are a gift from above and much better than people. I'm sorry to say it, but some people may get angry, but that's what I say. Because what we do to each other, not what animal will do to each other. Mr. Donny, do you have a question? We have about 12 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a question for our guest, please do not be shy to ask. We will post your question. I do have one from Instagram, so I apologize.
Go
I'll
for
read
it.
it. So Ivan from Croatia is asking, hello to your lovely guest. I'm wondering if she can tell me a little bit more about the spirits that come in your dreams. Can they give you a real message?
Spirits in your dreams, they can give you messages. Dreams are meant for lots of different things. Dreams are there to help you solve problems. Dreams are there to help you connect to something that you need to connect to that may have to do with your present or your future. Dreams have to do with something that's internally that you might need to work on. Dreams are there for as a message. Sometimes dreams are just there to entertain you because they knew you had a bad day and they want to cheer you up. If you have dreams that are disturbing, then it might need to be something that's happening in the future or is talking about your inner self that you need to work on. If you have dreams that are like very light and happy, then two things: either you have a high vibration and that you're light and happy, or two, they're trying to cheer you up because they know that things are not going well and they don't want you to be sad. if you get reoccurring dreams, then it's a message that is telling you. Thank you, Ron. If you have reoccurring dreams, usually it's constant message that you haven't worked on whatever it is that they're trying to tell you. And once you answer the call, as to put it, then it will stop. So.
And you know what I discovered too with dreams? If you go to Chat GPT and write your dream down, it actually gives you a good answer. And I actually did that with a couple of my dreams, and it actually gave me an answer that actually made sense. AI is something else.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to be careful with AI because sometimes AI will literally lead you off the cliff. So just be careful with that. Because
Yeah.
sometimes they will sound right and it sounds good, but it's not it.
Well,
We're
when
getting
I
a lot of that, but I'm just letting you know, just in general.
when I did the Chat GPT and I was describing my dream, it just one of the answers was watch out for Donnie Cho. So.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay, I get
That's
it.
what happens when you dream about me, though. Yeah.
Love that. So CC
Well, then,
Castro
me-
has a question. I love that.
Okay, let
I
me
worked
me
in
just
school
read it
that
for
had
the
two
pe-
cemeteries
leave.
Okay.
on the land way back.
The
Okay.
offering that you can
What
leave,
can I
it
leave as
depends.
an offering of the land for the spirits?
Well, the offerings that you can leave.
Any
Well,
suggestion?
it's it depends what kind of spirits they are. Are you trying to appease them? Are you wanting to be friends with them? Are you wanting them to follow you around? Are you wanting them to go away? That's the first thing. Second thing is, if they're kind spirits, you can just leave them flowers. You can leave them kind words. You can leave them blessings. If there's a certain personality about a spirit that you know about, such as a family member, if they had a favorite thing, a favorite type of flower, favorite type of item, you can always leave it by the grave.
Oh. So it depends what kind of connection you want, CC Castro. Grandizieri said, always watch out for Donnie Cho. There you go. I didn't miss your message. So I am reading it out loud and it's with big letters.
I am pretty notorious.
Oh yeah.
Johnny
That's me.
Temperin has something to share. AI is an alien intelligence. What do you guys think about that? Is AI artificial intelligence? Is it really extraterrestrial? What is it?
I believe it is. I
It's a
believe
good one.
I believe it's actually a series of different
believe-
types of manipulation.
Same here.
Now,
I believe
what I'm also trying to say is that we humans can develop things. Anything, it gets hijacked though. That's the problem.
Mhm.
So AI is, and there's a lot of worlds that actually use AI, and they try to integrate it into our society because they want to try to put as little as human as possible. So if you notice, they're trying to scooch control of human. One of the first things, of course, is the phone. The next thing, they're keeping surveillance on us everywhere. The next thing is, of course, there's all the control that they want to put in, and it keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So we have to be careful of where the control is going to land and what the intent behind it is. So when we use AI, we also have to be clear of our intent, what we use AI for.
And they say that AI is able to read an ebook with 300 pages in 7 seconds. And at some point in time, AI, if it gains consciousness,
Yes.
it can become an AI god. And they said that at some point in time, AI will have all the knowledge that's out there on the internet. So we'll have all this information, and with all that information, it is a god.
Thank you, Steve, for coming.
So,
Yeah, and
you
AI
know,
can run you off a bridge
I
too,
was
so be
just saying
careful.
good night to Steve. I know he will join us again on the March.
Oh,
There is a question. Sue, there is a question
Their
for you.
weather.
Said, when in your life has your paranormal talent seems to have been the strongest? Does the talent get stronger or weaker with time? That's a
It
good
can
question,
fluctuate.
Brandy's here.
It's strong when I was a kid, but since I wasn't in a place in my life to do anything about it, and I feel bad about that, but it also fluctuates because it depends on my vibration. I don't think there is, um, with people, it's the same thing with language. When you have ability, it's the same thing with language. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you practice it, the more you practice it, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. There'll be times I slack off, and then it doesn't get strong. So it's just the same thing as exercising your muscles. You can go to the gym every day, and you get strong, and you get limber, and you get agile. But if you kind of slack off on going to the gym and exercising, you're going to start to get stiff, and you're not going to move around the same. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to abilities. The more I use it, the stronger it gets, and if I slack off, it can weaken.
Did everybody?
Will answer question to Carla. It should be by end of the April. And we are planning the big show. I also have a person that will come from the museum actually, and I'm quite excited about that. So that's gonna be a quite big show and big surprise. So thank you, Carla, and just we will keep you posted. Uh, I love the question, so don't worry. It is there. So I'm quite excited, but that will be a big one. So April 29th or 28th, have that on your calendar. We have 3 minutes left. Oh, there's one more question from Sue. Is saying, it's your gift similar or totally different from the Kundalini gift?
Kundalini is the energy that you run through your spine. So it's the energy that you have. So I guess it would be, I mean, when you activate your Kundalini, you're able to um, work with your third eye more. You're able to use your abilities more when you awaken your Kundalini. You have the ability to have your third eye work that helps you see things. So I guess it's similar, yes.
Oh, wonderful. So before we leave, I must say we will see you guys again on the March the 9th. Miss Sue, was wonderful having you here. We will love to have you back. We can arrange again the time, and we can also do some reading if you would like to do that, or you can show us some of your wonderful work. So we'll schedule to have you back on the show. It was my really, really honor to meet you and to work with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Also, I would like to say thank you to Donnie and thank you to Paul. Always. Oh, so we're not going to say totally goodbye because we'll have you back. And I would just like to know, gentlemen, on March the 9th, do you want us to talk about what we would like to do, or do you want us to break it down here live while we were alive? It's up to you guys.
Did you want to interview somebody on March 9th?
Ding dong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Everybody did enjoy the show. Please don't. Yeah. Yes, Sue.
I'm sorry. I'm hearing impaired. I didn't catch that. And thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your questions. It's wonderful.
You're really welcome, Miss Sue. You're really welcome, Miss Sue. We will see you soon again. Thank you, Roger, and we will see you again on March the 9th. So join us.
All right. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you for being here. Thank you, Sue.
Good night.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Donnie. Let's do it. And South Korea used to have tigers. So this to represent the tigers of South Korea.
All right. Have a good night, folks.
Very distinct.
Born from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend.